What is going on? Welcome to another K-pop album review. In this one, of course, we're taking a look at the album Over 10 Years from FT Island, which has been released to kind of celebrate and commemorate their 10-year anniversary. So, like I normally do with all of my other videos, I'm going to share what I thought about this album. And because I don't really do number ratings, my rating is going to be if I would spend money on this album or not. So if you want to hear more K-pop album reviews in general, just more Korean music kind of stuff, then please do click on the subscribe button down below if this is your first time here. If not, or whatever, then let's continue on with the album review now that I got my shameless self-promotion out of the way. So let's start by saying that I think that this album is actually, appropriately named, because of course it is over 10 years. It's meant to celebrate and mark their 10-year anniversary. And I do get the feeling, and people were telling me with the promotion, with the music video for this album, that that song specifically was kind of supposed to be a way to illustrate their evolution as a group that was mostly focused and highlighted the vocal aspect of the group, and as they kind of evolved into a group that has that balance between the vocals and the instrumentation of the band. So I think that this album is a really kind of good demonstration and a good summary of their entire career. So I think the album is actually appropriately named, because I do get the sense that a lot of the songs on this album are a reflection of some of their previous work. And I think that that's definitely really awesome. And I think that someone was saying that there's one song that's a remake of something that they released earlier, which I kind of have the thought in the back of my head, which I didn't actually do the research for, that potentially a lot of these songs are. I don't really know. Not particularly familiar with FT Island, their earlier career. I will be honest and straight up front with that. But I definitely do get the feeling, like I said, as people were informing me, that their promotion song was meant to kind of like summarize their transformation as a group from the start of their career to this point, that this album is supposed to be a summary of what the group has done, what they can do, the sounds and the styles that they've done and explored and experimented with over the course of their career. And I think that's actually a pretty interesting idea for an anniversary album. It's not really something that, or not particularly something that I can even really kind of think that a lot of groups like ever have really kind of done. So that's definitely interesting. And if somebody confirms and tells me that all of these songs are remakes of earlier songs from them, then I will love this even more, because that is just an absolutely exceptional idea for an album, for an anniversary album, is to remake or to reimagine songs that you released earlier in a way that you are viewing music now as an artist who's had 10 years of experience and 10 years of creative development and stuff like that, to then go back to earlier songs and be like, hey, what we could do with this song and make it a little bit different and make it fit our vibe that we have right now. That's really, really awesome. That's a cool idea. And again, like I said, I'm not 100% sure that they've actually done that. I legitimately don't really have the time to go back and research all 15 songs on this album or something like that. But that thought is at the back of my mind, and I am definitely certain that somebody will come in just and tell me that. But I don't even know. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. So whatever. I gotta say that this album is also pretty well put together as well. Kind of typical for FT Island albums, I must say. I think that their albums are really, 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 really good. The track listing is fantastic from start to finish. It's really, really good. And the one thing I think is actually pretty, I wouldn't necessarily say that it is unique to FT Island, but it is definitely something that is not particularly common with many K-pop albums, is that the album their albums have a track listing that is kind of erratic when it comes to the energy levels of of the songs. So in this album, you start with a song that's got a pretty hefty amount of power behind it, you know, and then you just kind of move, and some songs are like low energy, low power, some are, you know, high energy, high power, and it's not like a smooth ride like a lot of other K-pop albums. You know, so you start with the most up-tempo, most upbeat songs, and then you end with the slowest, most, you know, emotion-filled, emotionally charged, whatever kind of ballad that you possibly can. So, you know, with a lot of other albums, you know, you kind of get a linear path downwards as far as, you know, starting high energy and ending at lower energy. Whereas with this album, it's not a, you know, straight line. It's not a straight path, which I think is cool. It honestly keeps listening to this album interesting and engaging all the way through. The first time that you listen to it, it's a little surprising. It's a little interesting. You listen to a song that's high energy, and you get a couple songs that are relatively low energy and not super, like, you know, upbeat and, you know, crazy, and then you get another song that just hits you with the energy again, and it just snaps you back into kind of listening and paying attention to the album, which I think is good. Because, you know, with a song that just kind of like, with an album that just slowly diminishes energy levels as the songs progress, it makes it kind of easy to just like tune out and forget really that, or not even really pay attention to the album. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but at the same time, I think it actually is really, really good that you can actually keep somebody's attention, manage to keep somebody's attention through however many, 15, I think, songs on this album, you know, from start to finish like that, by you know, just putting songs in there from time to time that are going to come out and just punch you in the face and grab your attention. It's actually a pretty big thing, I think, in my opinion, and is something that I actually do enjoy, because it like I said, keeps me engaged from song 1 to number 13. And I know that and I just checked that there's only 13 songs, not 15. So I realized that. My favorite song, I don't really have a favorite song. I can't really pick one out of the group. I do have to say that it's probably that, you know, like, depending on what time of day, or just what day in general that you ask me, is going to be different, because it would be very much dependent on what my current mood is, because, like, I like all of these songs. I like them a lot, but I like them all for relatively different reasons. I like them all in their own way, for their own reason, and, you know, that's great. That's really, really cool. I mean, we got 13 songs that I like equally, like, a lot. I couldn't pick one, you know, I couldn't pick one for me personally to elevate above the rest and say that this is my favorite song on this album, absolutely, without a doubt, because, as I just said, it would kind of be dependent on what my mood is and what I'm feeling that day. You know, like, maybe I'd be feeling like one song, but then, you know, the next day or even the next hour, I'd be feeling like a different song. You know, that's cool. And this album can give you that too, where it's not just one coherent and consistent, you know, sort of feeling and theme throughout the entire album. You get a bunch of different stuff in this album, and that's really, really cool. You get a little bit of everything when it comes to, you know, the rock music that FT Islands does to just kind of satisfy whatever your needs are. So that's really all that I've got to say. My final review, my score on which is whether I would spend money on this or not, is like, yes, I would spend money on this or not. You know, as usual, FT Islands put out another album, which I think is very, 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 very good, and, you know, it's just a really, really exceptional track listing to support what is an exceptional, you know, promotion song that they use to just, you know, of course, sell this album to everybody. So that's all I got to say. My album review for over 10 years, my FT Island. Those are my thoughts and opinions on this album. I want to know what you guys thought about it. You know, put your comments, your thoughts, whatever, down below. And that is going to be it. We're trying to build up a community here that is about having some friendly and respectful discussion about our thoughts and opinions, whether we agree or disagree. So if that is something that you are interested in becoming a part of, then please do consider clicking on the subscribe button down below. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.